So hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Welcome back to the channel. Brr. Cold front is coming back around right here, sweeping through East Tennessee. We had some horrible storms this afternoon and it's brought in a cold front. We're about to do our evening chores and I wanted to drop off this video for you. Yesterday, I told you we're going to be in the 70s, and earlier today, I was just wearing a t-shirt, just, working in jeans and a t-shirt. Not anymore. We've dropped to 44. We've gone from 71 to 44. We're going to be in the 20s tonight. Oh my gosh. So, again, February, she's a trickster. Don't believe her. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. I hope that you get to see the video prior to this one I did earlier this afternoon. I wanted to share with you about options for you in terms of food storage, so refer back to that. More affordable food storage for you, long-term food storage, and a variety of different things that you can get to add to your pantry. So make sure you check that video out. I think right now one of your top priorities, I've been talking about this for years, but your pantry needs to be on the highest of priorities right now because we have so many things going on at one time. It is hard to keep up. So we're going to fly through a lot of different things today, and I want to get feedback from you. This is very, very critical in my opinion. It's interesting to me because I'm not saying that this means anything per se, but I dreamed overnight again, and from time to time I have certain dreams, and I'm sure that you've had dreams as well, and you feel like maybe that was a special message for you, something for you to think about or learn from. And I dreamed that I was suddenly on an island on the outside of England. And it was I've never been to England. I've never been to Europe. And I really hope to make it to at least Northern Ireland and Scotland one day. And I just hope I get there, guys. I really, really do. But this is what I want to talk about first is I dreamed that I was on this island and I was working with all of the people. I could hear the English, the accents. I don't even know how I did this in my mind, but we were in a place that was still quite secluded, and we knew that we were going to have invaders coming, and we were trying to figure out how to basically shield ourselves from that. And then I woke up. It was more detailed than that. It was kind of long and very, very detailed, but this is the interesting part about this is this morning, I got on to Twitter. I still call it Twitter. I know it's X, but I got on there for the first time probably in a couple of weeks. I have an account there. Honestly, I think it's one of the better places to see things. Unfortunately, you see a lot of things you don't want to see. But it is also a place where you see things that you don't find. The mainstream media is certainly not telling you, which is part of this. It's certainly not on YouTube, not very much. And it's falling in line with a lot of the things that I'm hearing from you guys here. And I want to bring this out. I want to hear from you if you are in the UK specifically. Anywhere. If you are in Germany, near Brussels, all kinds of different places that are having all kinds of things happen. It's just like you watching us here. We tell you some of the things that are happening here or that we see. You're probably getting more news from various YouTubers, which, you always should take certain things with a grain of salt, but it gives you a heads up of potentials. And guys, I'm seeing things in Ireland, which we've talked about this. It is mind-blowing what is going on in these countries. And the reason I want to talk about this is not just because I dreamed this, but because it prompted me to go to Twitter. It prompted me to ask questions of a couple of people that I know today, and they have no idea. The things that are happening in Ireland, the things that are happening in Scotland, the things that are happening in the UK specifically, the farmers' protests, all of the different things that are happening in Europe right now, it is honestly overall not being discussed or talked about here in the United States. Just as you may not know a lot of the things that are going on likewise. So if I have a lot of followers in the UK specifically. I love you guys. I do. And your comments are so critical because it is without doubt you guys are getting hit very, very hard and much quicker with this than we are. We're not far behind you anymore. We certainly see of all the atrocities that has happened to Canada. And I have a lot of Canadian followers. And guys, we are going to have to try to do our best to let others know of what's going on. That's what I'm concerned about. But I'm watching these protests, this flare-up happen in Ireland this morning. Allegedly, a 7-year-old girl was raped by, well, what we would call an illegal invader here. You call it what you want, but we try to keep it real. We don't try to, we do keep it real. And the people of Ireland are pushing back. I mean, I watched another interview with a woman talking about how she basically is afraid to even walk outside of her house now. She's a native Irish woman, probably in her 30s. She has a child, and she talks about all the things that they are seeing on a daily basis. And she doesn't recognize her homeland anymore. And I think that it's critical that we talk about these things and share it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Because I'm really leaning on you. I can tell you what I see on Twitter or X or Rumble, Jumble, Mumble, but firsthand accounts is more important than anything. And that's what we look for. And so that's why our comment section here is so important. And guys, I'm telling you, we're falling right in line behind what is happening to Western Europe. As I told you last year, this is an entire attack on Western civilization. Nothing is happening by accident. It is not by default. It is happening deliberately. And we have to look out for each other. The next thing that I want to mention to you, and I'm trying to fully understand all of this, so I am sort of leaning on some of you guys with this. I'm seeing some information float about certain things happening in March. We talk about things going on with the stock market. I don't have any interest in overall giving a flip about the stock market because I'm not in the stock market. I got out of that years ago, and I believe that assets, tangible assets, are far more important than what we're seeing in terms of the stock market. I do not believe that it is a reflection of the economy. I think the economy is in the pits, and they don't have any correlation with each other in terms of what is reality, in terms of what is a good economy. You may be really involved with the stock market and you're making a killing right now. I hope that continues for you, and I hope that it is awarding you the opportunity to take whatever you're gaining from that and you're turning around and reinvesting it into real assets: food, water, shelter, medicine, gold, silver. If you can afford to do that, if you're making all this killer money, I hope you're being smart with it. Okay? The rest of us are trying to carve our way out a different way. But I do think that having assets, depending on what you define as an important asset, is very important. And so there's all this talk about things happening in March 11th up to March 20th. I've been sent several different videos. I've seen several different videos over just the past couple of days. This is the first opportunity I've had to talk about this. There's a lot of debate about what's going to happen with rates and the Fed, which is a direct correlation to what is going to happen with inflation. I personally, no matter what they say, do not believe jack squat in terms of them saying that if inflation has cooled. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. Where? It's slowing down. Let me tell you something. I did a major thing today. I went through a drive-through. Yeah, I did. I ain't lying to you. All these people say they don't do that on once in a blue moon. I'm not sure they're telling you the truth. I had not had anything to eat, and I was running errands, and it was storming, and I went, I've got my snack, I've got my water. I'm just going to get me a little mini 4-pack of chicken nuggets. I just want a little, it's not even real chicken, I know. Shh. But I did it. $3. That shouldn't be more than $1. So I sat there and I went, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I have my concerns in terms of inflation for you. I want to continue to encourage you to pay attention to these details, because even like me and like you, even though Okay, well, what am I supposed to do about it? What you need to be doing about it is continuing to hunker down, turn inward, and make sure you're getting your 5 cans, you're getting your food storage, you're making sure that you're up on your self-defense, water, medicine. I'm going to drive this point every single time we talk about this, almost every single video, because every time I say this, at this point, I feel like I'm reaching a new person because of the growth of our channel. And if you are already established with this and you're like, Patara, you've said this 100 million times and I'm already doing it, be thankful that we are talking about it over and over, because we're winning people. We're winning people. People are starting to wake up. Things are happening, and we have to really push them in the right direction to prepare for themselves. So I don't know what's to come. Obviously, things are shaking and moving. It's hard to know what's real and what's not, but we do know our preparedness is. Mitch McConnell now, as we know, is supposedly stepping down, but he's not doing it till November. I'm like, dude, step down. Why announce it? Why don't you just do it today? Why don't you go sit on the beach and lick ice cream with your buddy? I mean, that's how I feel about it. So be watching these political shenanigans. It doesn't mean that, you know, you have to keep up with it 24/7 and become, you know, fixated on it, but they're making moves right now. They're chess playing you right now, and you have to outsmart that. All of these things to me is a move. Just like you have Nikki Haley staying in. Why? What does she know? Now, some people will say she's just doing it for attention. Yeah, I think she digs that. And she's doing it just to be a thorn in the side. We also know that Democrats are predominantly funding her, even in her home state. I've read yesterday that 40%, it was at 40% of all the votes that went to her are people that voted for Joe Biden supposedly in 2020. Did anybody vote in 2020? Did that really happen? But that's what the headline said. But I go deeper than that, and I'm not trying to put anything out there as a potential, but I can't deny that I don't sit there and go, why are you hanging in there? Why? I don't know if I'm the only person that has come to these conclusions or have these thoughts, but I always ask why, and especially I like to ask why now? And you need to be doing all of these things. This country is on the brink, y'all. And I think that you need to be watching Europe very closely. We have been watching Europe very closely for several years. And I want you to pay attention to the details of all the things that we're seeing specifically in the UK. You need to be watching what is happening as best you can, and to understand how that affects us here. Understand the things that are being allowed to come into the country are falling in line in a certain way. Understand that these things that are coming into our country are not coming from a good place. Understand that the prisons in other countries are releasing their worst criminals. That's not a narrative. That's not propaganda. We understand that these things are happening. Do you understand what happened to that girl in Georgia? More details have come out as to what happened to her. What this person did to that girl's head. What if that was your daughter? What if your daughter was is the 14-year-old girl that allegedly has been raped? What if your daughter was the 7-year-old, 7 years old in Ireland? Not 17. It wouldn't matter how old you are. But 7 years old. How does somebody get past that? How does a child recover from that? Physiologically, if you live, but physiologically, think of all the problems that child growing into a woman could possibly have. And you want to question, anybody wants to question that evil doesn't have a stronghold on Western civilization right now? Please be paying attention. Please be paying attention to all of these things. I know that it's overwhelming. I put up a post today in my community page about how I was just scrolling through something that was positive. You know, some of these pages I try to follow for positive thoughts. And I went, yes, you are awesome, because you are trying, and you are trying to continue to wake people up. There are moments that I go, if they're not awake by now, there's nothing I can do for them. I understand that a lot of you feel that way. But I don't think it's a time to be quiet. I don't think it's a time to be silent. Because our young people are being brutalized. Young people, young women, men too, are being brutalized. What will we do one day when we look back and we realize we failed our children? Because that's exactly what that is. Our silence is literally failing and jeopardizing our children and grandchildren. Like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you being here today. It's been a busy day. Crazy storms came through, and I had just a lot of thoughts, a lot of news, a lot of things. And I told you. This is not an I told you so, but I did tell you, and I've told you often, a quickening is happening. Things are amping up. You don't just feel it, now you're starting to see it. The puzzle pieces are starting to fit together. And with whatever is possible with happening in terms of the stock market or with rates, I don't know. I don't focus on that so much. What I focus on is continuing to remind myself and to remind those that I love and to remind you, because I love you, to please pray, please prepare, please be peaceful as much as you can, because things are going to continue to erupt on their own. And at some point, it could very well be turned around and flipped on us. And the one thing that is holding us together is our Second Amendment. I don't know if you've gotten that far with thinking of the potentials here of what they may try to do, the dangers for our country. You must protect yourself. But again, I urge you and remind you, pray, prep, be peaceful, focus as much as you can, and please be talking to all the people around you at your churches, your neighbors, your friends. They're seeing it. People are seeing most things that are happening here. Americans are last in this country. We are last. At a minimum, I am confident that everyone is seeing that. And I really think the best way for people to push back, pray, major prep, do your best to be peaceful. It's tough to get out these days. Believe me, I know. We're all feeling it. We're all seeing it. But God is not going to fail us. Please be praying for Ireland and the UK and all of our brothers and sisters in Europe. South Africa. Please be praying. Like, subscribe, and share. I'm going to go milk my goat, finish the barn with my beautiful husband, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed. God bless.